This is the Cafecito Podcast.
Shooting something. That was incredible, bro. Wow. Hello, I'm Isaac.
And I'm George.
And you already know what this is. We're not doing the little song anymore the way that we used to because we are already doing it. So today, just getting right into who. First off, how you doing, GM? How you doing, bro?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Got a nice haircut today. Nice coffee. Good conversation. It's a beautiful day outside. Can't complain.
You got. I like your fit too, bro. You got a good fit. I like the fit today.
The little
I love it.
Vibes.
Yeah, dog. You looking good over there, bro. You look good, dog. I'm good, bro. I'm good, dog. Wifey gets back home today. I'm excited for her to come back. You know, it's weird, dude. I just gotta admit it, man. I just whenever I'm not with her, I'm always like, damn, dog. You know, like, well, where am I? Well, I miss her. You know what I'm saying, bro? It's like a beautiful blessing. It's one of those things.
That's kind of cool, though.
Oh, it's great. It's. We always talk about it. I always go, Sky, is this normal that we miss each other? Like, and we just saw each other. She's been gone for like 2 days, you know. So she's like,
that's what we all, not me. That's what we all want deep down inside, whether we want to admit it or not.
I know, and we need our time away from each other. Don't get it twisted. You know, we need our own time and that kind of thing. But she's the person that I love being with the most all the time. You know, and I tell people that all the time. If I can be with the one that I want to be with the most, why wouldn't I be?
Of course.
What? That doesn't make sense to me. That I wouldn't be with the person that I want to be with the most. You know.
Of course.
So, anyways, I'm good, brother. Coffee's treating me well. My life is good. We're blessed. I'm grateful. Speaking of grateful, we had an incredible conversation with Todd Kramer. He is the creator and host of Offstage Acting Podcast. He's an actor as well, toddkramer.com. I believe he just plugged that at, you know, when we did the episode at the end there. And he is just a fascinating human being. You know, we talked about everything from his upbringing to he lives overseas now in the UK, in London, or outside of London, I should say. Mm-hmm. What a guy. Dude, the thing that I take from this is first off, great voice. His voice was so great. He was just kind of talking in this manner down here.
It was chill, but not too chill, like the whole episode in general.
Yes, that's correct. It's funny how these episodes take shape. That's another thing I was thinking about, because towards the end, we even said it, at an hour and 10 minutes in is kind of when things really got rolling into this beautiful wave. Not that before that it wasn't anything. It was just kind of us just talking and hanging out and drinking coffee.
I think we've also, I'll let you carry on, but I think our show has become like a formula. Now it's just it happened organically, but also within each respective episode, the formula just gets like moved around. Yeah. Whether we talk about like more serious things in the beginning or just, you know, just kick back in the beginning, vice versa. So I think it's really cool how we're getting really settled into this baby of ours. Yeah,
I agree, dude. The organic flow is, I think it's a great way of describing it. It's very organic in the sense in which those things happen, because I kind of want to get to know about everybody as a whole. I don't just want to know, we bring on creatives for the most part, but I don't just want to know about your creative side. I want to know, you know, just about everything. Do you like sports? Everything. Do you like music? Do you enjoy, what kind of food do you like? You know, whatever. You know, what do you not like? What do you think about life? That kind of stuff. So anyways, he was a fascinating human being. Came originally by way of California, he said, or Florida and California.
I think he said.
Yeah, Oceanside, California. And man, just the thing that I took from it, he spit some bars at the end there. And what I just have to say, this is what Todd said, no judgment without mercy, I think was what he said there at the end. And how there's bad envy and good envy. Mm-hmm. And I'll let you guys listen to the episode so you can hear him expand upon those two things. Unbelievable one-liners, unbelievable bars.
I think I realized that too with like people older than us. They're telling us things that we're going through in real time. At least me personally, like him mentioning that about envy and stuff. Because we grew up thinking like it's a blanket over one term, and it's like, no, it's a yin and yang to everything. There's two sides to everything. It's just depending like how you want to go about it, I guess. In life.
It was so good. It was so good. What did you take from
pretty much that. I think it was cool to see somebody from the States move to Europe. Like, it's usually the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
At least from my experience, people we talked to, that was cool. We didn't really go that deep into what he does occupation-wise, which was kind of cool too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's kind of easy thing to fall into, which there's nothing wrong with that. And I like, just to not sound repetitive, is the whole MV segment, and just you can apply that to everything, right? Like I was teaching some kids the other day, and someone taught me when I was young, like, we hear the word consequences and we think, oh, that's bad. And it's like, no, that's just a result of the cause and effect, right? So there's good consequences, there's bad consequences. Like, so he's saying there's good envy, there's bad envy, there's good competition, there's bad competition, there's good and bad to everything. It's just the way you want to dabble in it and use it as a tool or a weapon. So I think that was...
As a tool or a weapon. That's a great, because again, you think back to caveman times, you have a pickaxe or whatever, those things, a chisel. The chisel could be used as a tool or a weapon. Great point, brother. Well, anyways, peeps, thanks for listening. We love you. We hope you're staying blessed. We hope you're staying grateful. And enjoy Todd Kramer.
Enjoy.
The liquid gold, baby.
And now, you know what time it is. Let's mark this. Coffee review time.
Flowing.
I do this for GMs. It's mostly I do that reaction just for GM. What am I drinking today? Well, ladies and gents, ladies and germs, as Tim Ferriss says, from my Yosemite mug, I'm drinking good old Reverent Coffee Company out of Oakhurst, California. They're Columbia. I'm drinking their Columbia blend. And I'll tell you right now, this Columbia blend, let me tell you what the notes are, because I just started it not too long ago. Colombia. Tasting notes, papaya, orange sugar. Variety Castillo, Caturra. Roast light. Altitude 1,300 to 1,650 MASL. I don't know what the MASL stands for. But the process is washed. It is...
Meters above sea level?
That's probably exactly what it is. Whoa! That was fire. I just spit everywhere. That was awesome.
That must what Wayne feel like when he freestyles. Right? Like, damn, I did that. Young Moolah, baby.
Why you haven't taken my life? I literally, bro, we got to talk about this because I saw this hilarious reel the other day. So this bad boy is produced by small farmers in the Pitalito region. Anyways, I'm going to give this one a solid 8-1.
Ooh.
8-1. I'm kind of ripping off Portnoy's rating system. I've been watching One Bite reviews
I love
a lot.
them.
Me too. They're amazing. I actually downloaded the app.
8s and 7s are good, man.
Dude, 8s and 7s are
wrong,
fantastic. I'm going to give this an 8-1 just because it hit me later on, but it was such a smooth sail, man. It's a smooth sail up, and it doesn't ever leave me feeling tired after. I just love this coffee. It's just such a great taste. I think that it's an 8-1 for me because I feel fantastic right now. I don't feel like... I don't like the jittery feeling. I can take caffeine, but anyways, it was I highly recommend again Reverent Coffee Company out of Oakhurst. So talk to me. What are you drinking?
Just homemade with 2 sugars and some milk. The taste wasn't the best I've had. It was good though, but like you said, I didn't feel jittery. I felt very chill at the end. Like now I can probably just sit back and chill or get some work done because I just hate that jittery feel. So yes. I'd say the same rating. I was gonna go originally go like 7-8, but I was like, let me show some love to what it did for me, not so much of what it was doing when I tasted it. So.
And I think the conversation also kind of dictates how I feel about the coffee, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
So that's something else I just thought about right now. We're doing this intro directly after we recorded. And I think it's kind of cool doing it that way because this coffee and the conversation fueled.
It went well together.
Dude, it's great.
I feel very chill right now, especially after last weekend.
Well, levántate, échate la pila.
Yeah, I'm about to get some work done now. So
yeah, me too, Doc. All right, that's it, everybody. Enjoy. I took a couple sips of my cafe. I've been intermittent fasting lately, so I've been just doing.
Oh yeah.
Just to kind of test it out and see if it helps my stomach issues. And I usually just drink coffee in the morning, which I used to think that it would hurt my stomach, but it hasn't been. So it's really nice. And but today I did not intermittent fast. Today I had myself a nice breakfast, and I got a nice cafe.
Hey, we're official today, Mike. We all have a mic and headphones.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, all clean. We all got the same mic. Nice.
George,
Pros.
you have your coffee. Yes, Jorge, you have your coffee.
I started already a while ago.
Salud.
Todd, usually I gotta leave to get a coffee. And
In the middle?
I make sure- just like in the beginning, I always forget it's getting ready.
He always
I'm ready.
says, he's like, wait, I gotta go get my coffee. Right after we started. That's so funny. Good stuff, Jorge. Looking good, brother. Good to see your face.
Thanks, man. Just got a haircut, feeling fresh.
And Todd, I like what kind of cap you got on there. I like your backwards cap that you got.
This is like it's kind of a cool cap. It's some Dutch Scandinavian thing,
Oh, I love that.
and I can do that with it.
Nice.
I just love your setup, man. That was one thing because I was telling George a little bit about how we met. That I did Offstage with you, which
Yeah.
I think it's just a great time to just say it. First and foremost, plug a little shameless plug right here. Offstage Acting, the podcast that Todd hosts, and it's Todd's baby. And I remember one of those when I first saw your setup, I was like, dude, you just have such a nice setup in the back. It looks evolved from the last time that I saw it too.
I did. I think I did do a little upgrade.
I don't remember the Star Wars gear in the back. I see Star Wars back there.
That's my Star Wars lunch pail that I had since I was a boy, and
Wow.
it's rammed with Star Wars action figures.
Dude,
What did I miss? Sorry, I had to take my dog out.
Well, I was just talking about his setup behind him because when I did his podcast, I was
that's
saying
crazy.
that was one of the things that I loved was the backdrop that he had, and then I was talking about Star Wars. You see the Star Wars thing in the back, George, on the little shelf there.
Lunchbox.
Oh, it looks like some type of box.
Look at
Dude,
it,
he's
though,
got
bro.
he's got his own place insulated.
That's what I mean.
That's my
dude.
childhood. That's my childhood lunch pail. You guys are younger than I am, but
Wow.
they had we all carried a metal lunch pail like that.
I used to have those.
Yeah.
You had that?
Like
I had the
yeah,
soft.
in
I had the
kindergarten.
soft box.
The soft.
I
You probably had
yeah.
the soft one, but
Yeah, we went
ours were
soft.
metal, man. And
Yeah, we went soft.
and inside this box,
We went soft.
you went soft. You guys went soft. Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Original. Those are all my action figures. I managed to hold on to those, man. Those things
That
are like
is
40 years old.
Oh, that's so cool, bro. Honestly,
cool.
those are probably worth a lot of money.
They're around if they're in the original packaging.
Yeah,
and all that stuff.
exactly.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
like
yeah.
Pokemon now. That's Pokemon for us. You know, Pokemon. I was gonna say Digimon, digital monsters. But Pokemon is that's our generation. I'll never forget when we used to get those. Dude, do you remember, George? We used to go to like this one store, and it was an event, like on Saturdays, going to this card store, right? And in hindsight, if we were smarter, we would have bought all like the memorabilia, sports cards and stuff like that. But we would just go straight to the Pokemon section, and it was like, and you never knew it's like gambling. You open up the
Right.
cards and you don't know what you're gonna get. So
Yeah,
it was
excitement.
Did it
You
come
guys
with
used to do
gum?
Yu-Gi-Oh too, remember?
no. I wish it came with gum.
No gum? Oh.
You guys used to do Yu-Gi-Oh a lot too.
I loved Yu-Gi-Oh. I was all about the Yu-Gi-Oh.
We used to have
Pokemon.
Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments on Halloween at Isaac's house in his garage.
Yeah, that was the shit.
I get bounced out of the first round. I didn't know what the hell was going on.
I don't know
That's
what
our-
Yu-Gi-Oh is.
It's
like
just
Pokemon
another card game.
It's like
Oh.
Pokemon.
It's just another card game. It's just one of those.
So basically, you guys are nerds.
Yeah.
right.
Pretty, well, George Michael, I think, was more.
No.
He was just hang out with the nerds.
Yeah.
But I
was a creative.
What is that?
certainly
Doesn't that make you a
am
nerd?
I mean, I wasn't like certified nerd. Like I wasn't as good as
He played
Yu-Gi-Oh.
soccer.
You were nerd adjacent.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was an athlete.
I was an
He played
athlete.
soccer.
That's
He
right.
was fast. And the central perk. You're just whipping out all the memorabilia. You got Star Wars and a
I
little
grabbed my
friends.
friends. Well, this is stupid too. Like this is a result of I went to the supermarket once, and I told my girlfriend, I'm like, hey, I got to run to the supermarket, babe. You need anything? As you do. And she kind of stops and she goes, buy me a gift. I was like, what? It's like, yeah, buy me like a little gift or something. Just buy me a gift. I was at the supermarket. I'm going to Aldi. I'm just like, I'm going to And sure enough, you know how Aldi, you guys have Aldi there now.
Yeah,
I think,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
In the middle of Aldi aisles, they got stuff, and they had all this Friends crap, little pillows and purses and pens and whatever, and it's just like Friends stuff. And she drank coffee, so I grabbed her a Friends mug. And I was like, well,
Nice.
it was like the perfect gift. It actually, it was funny. Now we're stuck with this thing in the
That is a very funny request. I'm gonna
Yeah, do you need anything? Milk, eggs.
I'm gonna say that to
the
my
basics.
wife the next time
She's
she's
like,
going to the market.
Yeah, get me a gift. Yeah, next time she goes, what do we need from the market? You go, I don't know, a gift.
Give me a little
This
trinket.
is something small, something fun for me.
Something for my keychain.
Make me feel special. Yeah.
Oh man! All right, we're off and running. Todd, thank you, sir, for spending your evening with us. You're all the way on the other side of the pond, so thank you for spending your time with us, man. First and foremost, really appreciate you coming on the Cafecito Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
it's a lot of
man.
fun.
I was expecting
probably.
an accent.
No,
You
no.
what? You cheeky git. You want to speak like this, didn't you? You wanted a proper London
little bit.
geezer,
A
innit?
little bit.
Oh,
Right. You've gone and done it, mate.
Oh, no,
Now you're stuck with the geezer.
Todd, do you root for any team in London or no?
No.
Any football club?
No, I get that question a lot, and I just go, I couldn't care less. I don't know what they're doing out there.
Is there any sports teams you're into though, or no? Like,
I play,
in general?
a basketball.
Okay, who's your team?
Well, Lakers. I grew up with the Lakers, so I still sort of stick with that. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we're basketball buffs over here too.
Well,
Okay.
we could get
Probably
into
all
that.
Florida teams, is it?
I mean, Miami, all the way.
The Heat.
I was born in Chicago, so Jordan fan.
Okay.
Cubs fan, and then Heat
Right.
fan. It's kind of scattered all over the place.
I'm a diehard Heat and Dolphins fan. Unfortunate
Hurricane.
for the Dolphins. That's the only team I don't like is the
You're
Hurricanes.
full Miami.
I just don't like UM. That's the only thing I don't like.
Okay.
I'm an FSU fan. But let's talk about the Lakers a little bit. Are you still following the
No.
NBA right now?
No, not so much. I just like the game. Like I can watch a team. I can watch the sport because you know how it is. If you play,
Yep.
then you can watch. I didn't grow up. You guys are Hispanic. You grew up probably a little bit more with the football in your culture, in your life. So
Baseball,
we had
with more
baseball
baseball.
down here.
baseball. Yeah, the Cubans love the baseball, don't they?
Basketball.
Basketball. So, yeah, when I was a kid, it was the Hispanics and the girls that played soccer. It just wasn't a sport we ever, unless you're just a little kid kicking the ball around.
Where'd you grow up? Todd?
So I'm from Oceanside, California. It's a good-sized town just north of San Diego, about 30 miles from the border of Mexico.
Wow.
Beautiful place to grow up when you're a kid, especially back in the day. Pretty wild. I grew up from less than a mile away from some of the finest surfing beaches in the world, which I didn't realize at the time was a thing that I would never get back in all my world travels. But yeah, it was fun.
I was just in San Diego. We were in Mission Beach.
Oh yeah, that's gorgeous. Yeah.
Oh my God, dude. I love San Diego. That was my third time going down there. My parents were down there, so I just drove down to go and meet them. And dude, I ran with where's my dog? She's on the couch. But I ran with my dog just like up and down the boardwalk, and I was blown away. I was blown away by how easy we were. Right next to there's like an amusement park there with a wooden roller coaster.
Yeah,
Yeah, and there's so many shops there. It's people are just living their life nice and calmly as opposed to LA. I mean, we talked about LA a little bit last time, Todd.
Yeah.
On yours, but I loved it, dude. The weather was unbelievable. We were staying on the bay side. It wasn't on the ocean. It was on the bay.
Yeah, on the Mission Bay. Yeah.
Yeah, and University of I think it might have been UCSD or it might have been San Diego State. They were in the mornings. Like I'd wake up and have my coffee outside, and in the mornings people would be rowing. They'd be rowing, or they literally would be sailing, practicing like sailing. It'd be like those small sailboats. Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, it was so cool, man. I really fancy myself more of a mountain person than I do an ocean person, funnily enough. But I could live there. I could live in San Diego.
The only problem with when I was a kid, of course, it was much, much less populated.
Yeah.
So today it's just super saturated with humanity. And you're kind of stuck in the pocket, right?
Yeah.
That's the only issue with it. You can't get out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
If you go
for
south,
sure.
you got Mexico to the south.
Yeah.
And so you can't just like go freely down and like bebop around Mexico. You used to be able to. Super safe and super easy to get down there and just run down, wild camp on beaches. You can't go east because that's just the hottest desert in the world.
Yes, dude. Oh my God.
You can't go west because that's the Pacific. So,
Yeah.
and then if you head north, you're just heading up into like
LA.
Orange County.
Yeah.
Like, how do you get out? Oh, George is having problems.
That's okay. This is another fixture of the Cafe Con podcast.
This is how it works.
Yeah, he'll come in and out.
Big budget.
You see, yeah.
Who do you talk to?
It's
Is
tough
it ever
when
just the
you're
two of
doing
you?
All this. Yeah, we do have sometimes. We call it cafecito time when it's just he and I.
And then he logs out, and you're just talking to yourself time.
Yeah, sometimes I'll just be talking to myself. I'm like, yeah, all right, or we'll edit it where I'm like, let's just edit out that empty space.
George is left, and I'm just rambling on my own.
No, dude, I honestly, Glamis. Have you ever been to Glamis Sand Dunes?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So we did. Welcome back, Jorge. We did.
Oh, now you're over there. Wait, he's
Yeah, I
moving
know.
around. He's bopping around all over the place.
I told him it's another
You guys
fixture of
hear
the
me?
cafe. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
It's another fixture of the Cafe Con podcast. George will just come in and out.
Cafe con
Cut
interference.
out on my end. I couldn't hear you guys. So I was trying to fix it, and it was
Okay.
so I bounced out.
That's okay. We're back, baby.
You want us to repeat everything we said?
There's a lot. Again, you missed on the secret to life.
San Diego.
San Diego. Dude, Glamis was unbelievable. We did a photo shoot out there, and it literally looks like the sand dunes from Star Wars. It looks like it's unbelievable.
That's big,
down
like,
there.
I want to say redneck, white trash.
Oh, yeah.
But dune buggy guys.
I was going to say, there's a lot of dune buggies just riding around with
a lot of
flags.
tattoos.
Oh,
and,
yeah. There's people sand surfing when we were there also.
Oh, yeah. That's a thing now. Yeah.
Yes, which was really interesting.
What's that?
They're kind of like wakeboarding,
Yeah,
but
with a
on the
kite.
sand.
Yeah.
They
You
got-
can
they
go,
got
you can go
like-
down on like a snowboard,
They have like
or
a
you
kite
can
up
be
top,
pulled.
Yeah.
A kite like in the air.
No, not a kite. It was you were being
Attached to the
pulled by
board?
like a
Dune
dune
buggy.
buggy.
Oh,
Yeah.
there's people doing that here when there was like
Yes.
like flooding.
Where are you? You're in
South Florida. We had like a crazy storm the last couple days. It would rain like for a whole day and then
Oh.
stopped, and then rained the third day a lot. So I guess like in between like roads, there's like it goes down like the way they build it, so this is like the
Yeah.
water can flood out.
the runoff. Yeah.
But the runoff. So it was just so flooded that people were like in ATVs.
they
dragging
pull
people,
along the
with like
side
a
and then
skimboard.
In the canal. I saw him in like the canal right off the highway too, like right
So
off the
crazy.
turnpike. Dude, George, I have a question because maybe it's just because I haven't lived in South Florida for like 10 years, but I see these videos now. I don't remember it being that flooded when we were growing up. Has it gotten worse, the flooding? I'm not talking about the world is ending and all
Like
that
the
stuff.
weather? You mean more like the
No, I mean like
infrastructure?
literal the draining. Yes, the
It's
draining
gotten
of the
worse.
floods.
Of course, it's gotten worse.
I see
We've
it
done
now.
nothing about it. We've done nothing about it.
I see that like in South Beach, I saw a video, bro. There were cars that were literally floating, and I don't remember that growing up. I remember it being bad. I remember like the water being mid tire, being into the middle of the tire.
I think there's two reasons why you're noticing it. One is because they haven't done anything about it since we were kids, just because they don't have the time or care to. And then, bro, there's so many phones out nowadays.
That's true.
Like there's Instagram accounts
Everybody's
just
taking a
for
picture.
Yep.
There's only in Dade is literally an account for Dade County when things go viral.
Yep, that's
so imagine
true.
how many videos submissions they get a day.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's what Todd was just talking about, actually, about being able to go down to. I mean, kind of. We were talking about growing up in San Diego and how you could go east, but it's really hot desert. The west is the Pacific, south is Mexico, and north is like the LA area.
Yeah.
But back in the day, you could just hop over to Mexico and do your thing. But now there's just such an influx of people. The traffic was pretty gnarly in San Diego in certain points.
Yeah,
I will say that.
It's not. You can't sustain that many people. It was bad when I grew up there 40 years ago. It was already starting to get bad, but it was pretty loose. People kept flooding in because it's so gorgeous.
Yeah.
So I think it was a great place to live and a great place to grow up. But I don't know what it looks like now. I go there occasionally, and it's a madhouse.
When's the last time you came over to the States?
I came when there was a little bit of a COVID break, only because I had to get some stuff that I had left behind. And I wasn't sure I'd ever be able to come back. So kind of there, there's like that little break in COVID. I think there was about 3 months, and I managed to get over with a bunch of testing and a bunch of stuff to Florida, which is also where I'm from, you could say.
Where in Florida?
Deerfield Beach and Boca Raton.
Okay.
My father always lived in Deerfield, and my grandfather lived in Boca.
Okay.
But I left when I was about 4, I guess, to California.
We live about 25, 30 minutes from Deerfield.
Deerfield, we're
I know that whole area. I mean, I grew up there.
We're south of Fort Lauderdale. So we're south of Fort Lauderdale.
Right,
Deerfield.
North of
Yeah,
Miami.
I would say you're right, George. We're about 30 minutes from Deerfield.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Because Boca, from me, when I used to go there for school, it took me like 45 minutes to an hour to get there, depending on traffic.
Yeah, if there's no traffic, yeah.
Yeah. And you're driving.
912 Southeast 8th Court. That was my hood.
Shout out to the address.
Shout out. Right behind there, Winn-Dixie. How's everybody doing over there?
Go ahead and let us know how it's going.
Boom. Knock on the door. Tell them Todd Kramer still live there. See how's the pool doing? Did he cut down the orange tree?
Send us pictures. Leave a comment.
Tom, I was talking about this with someone the other day when I was younger. My dad's from Colombia. He used to always take us back to that house he grew up in.
All right.
And it used to be like when I was 9, when I was 13, when I was 15, and every time we went, it was just a random person living there. He would knock and he'd be like, "Hey, sorry to like disturb you, but."
Right.
I want to show my kids. Yeah, I want to show my kids where I grew up, and they're like, "Oh, cool!" And they're like, "Can we come in?" And they'd be like, "Yeah." I mean, at that point, what are you gonna say no?
I know, that's such an awkward. That's such an.
That's a thing you do once, but you don't do that like every time.
We did it at least 4 times, 3 or 4 times. Since
I can
was
imagine
like
your dad doing
8 to
it
15, for sure. And he's doing it like he belongs there.
Yeah, that's
right.
what they say.
And they point to. I hate it when they point to stuff. This is where we used to camp. This is where. Oh, that's interesting. You put the sofa there. Yeah. We used to have ours over there. Great. Who cares?
The house is a lot different when we lived here.
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
It's not.
Kids, look, I'm going to show you.
Like this.
It's been 40
this is the part.
years.
There's the spot where the dog used to puke all the time. What?
Oh
so
my
rad.
god!
Remember I told you your grandmother dropped dead, and when I was there's the spot.
That's where Grandpa
spot.
killed her.
We're
That's
good.
where.
Anyway, we got to go. Thanks for letting us see
See a
that.
little black stain. It used to be red. Isaac, everyone you bring on has a great sense of humor. I have to admit.
Oh my god! Wow, that was funny. Remember that black stain used to be red. That was
Yeah.
good.
Of course, when I was a kid, that was a big red stain. All right.
Whoa.
Well, muchas gracias.
Oh my goodness, Todd, where are you in the world right now? We haven't even gotten to that.
Oh, yeah.
Don't
So
say your address this time.
I'm at
Don't say your address.
number 14, Ascot Way. The buzzer is, there's a code on the buzzer you have to. I'm in a town called Leighton Buzzard, speaking of buzzers, which is about 30 minutes north of, 60 miles, 30 minutes north of London.
You could
Wow.
travel 60 miles in 30 minutes. That's fast.
Different world.
No, 30 miles,
Okay.
60 minutes.
Okay, I was
Something
gonna say
like that. Sorry, I screwed it.
because
Because if I go by train, it's about 30 minutes into London,
that makes
60 miles an hour. If I go by car, it takes me about an hour. 'Cause
yeah,
it's-
that's
Do you
fair.
own a car there, or does it make sense to?
Here I have a car, yeah.
Okay.
I'm proper American. I never...
Because in London, you don't really need one, right?
No, not really.
It's like New York.
I think I always kind of had one. It tends to stay parked most of the time. It's good for getting out and then getting in the countryside or if you got kids and stuff. But no, if you live in London, it makes really no sense to have a car. It's like New York.
What made you live that far out?
Oh, well, essentially, my girlfriend got work in the area, and it was just convenient for her to be out here. And I lived in London for years. I got tired of it. It's a grind, Imagine Manhattan, and then you kind of get the opportunity to live 30 minutes, one stop on a train outside, and you have a driveway and a garage and 4 bedrooms and a garden or backyard, all that stuff that you wouldn't have in London for a fraction of the price, or
That's what our
three-quarters of the
parents
price.
did. I love that our parents did that, Isaac. That we lived outside the city.
Got you out.
Man. Yeah, I think that's what kind of happens too. I know
Suburbs.
Same thing with LA, man. Everybody, whenever you first move to LA, a lot of people think Hollywood. I want to live in Hollywood. And I'm like, no, you don't.
People do that to me all the time. Is being in Europe, they go, "Oh man, what's Hollywood like?" I'm like, "It's a dump. What are you talking about?
Dude,
It's a shithole.
when
You don't want to go to
people
Hollywood."
No, when
I always wanted to see Hollywood for what?
Yeah.
The wax museum. What are you going?
Yeah.
I tell them to look at a sidewalk, just a random sidewalk.
Yeah, go
Imagine
to-
there's stairs, and it's cleaner here.
Yeah.
You go down there, and
There's only a couple things. See the Hollywood Walk of Fame, stand in front of the Chinese theater, take a picture, and bada bing, head up, get yourself a shot of the Hollywood sign, and get out before nightfall.
Yeah.
Oh my dude! Before 3 p.m.
Before
It's not
3
even
p.m.
nightfall.
Yeah.
Now it's.
Oh, right, yeah,
I don't
yeah.
go. We live in the valley. I don't go over the hill unless I absolutely have to.
Right.
That's the only time I go, and it's beautiful to drive there if you take the little back roads, And I've been listening. I was listening to another podcast, and they were talking about L.A. specifically in Hollywood. One of the things that, and I kind of agree with this, would have been awesome is if they were able to create historical markers better, because there's so much history here surrounding Hollywood, like the actual infrastructure of Hollywood.
Yeah, interesting.
But you don't know, like for instance, this is not talking about the tours, but if people were able to kind of keep the charm of the buildings, and this is where Charlie Chaplin lived at one
I
point.
heard that in a
or something
podcast
like
recently.
that.
It was like with Andrew Schultz. He was saying
Yeah,
that. He was like,
and
if
Theo
we just,
Von.
yeah,
Theo
we
Von
just
and
made
Andrew Schultz.
more landmarks, like it would make it more like valuable.
Culturally.
Yeah, I mean, it for better or worse, it doesn't. It's a part of the culture.
This is where Billy Crystal's house used to be before it burned down. Something like that.
Oh,
Like
man.
a little.
Yeah. Oh.
I remember the first time I was to go visit
Dark
Isaac.
humor.
I was there for like almost a week or so, and I was like, "Yo, I want to go to the Griffith. Like, what do you think about downtown?" He's like, "Just go once and that's it, and you'll know why." And I went to the not the downtown. He meant more so. So I went to the I went to the Griffith like twice, I think.
Yeah,
but
Griffith
one
is dope.
times I because it's kind of close to downtown, I guess you could say, but like Walk of Fame. And then I walked it down the Walk of Fame, and I was like, "Let me get the fuck out of here."
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it's grotty. There's
Yeah.
not, it's Hollywood is the term that everybody uses when they think of the film industry and the glamour. But even back in the day, Hollywood was never. Culver City actually was the big where all the movie studios were, and so there's a lot of history there. For example,
Now Burbank.
Burbank. I love Burbank. That was
Burbank over the
cool.
hill, yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah, it's probably really improved over the years. It used to
Oh,
just
yeah,
be
dude.
the
I
valley.
like that area a lot. You felt like you were like that was Hollywood.
Burbank
Like
is
behind
The big
beautiful.
studios are out there. That's
Yeah.
right. So
Where
you're
Disney
driving
is.
by and you're like,
WB.
"Oh, NBC is
Yeah, that was
shooting."
cool.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
Disney.
CBS.
Dude, it's
Universal
awesome.
Studios.
It's definitely. I'm sure. I can't even imagine in the 80s, 90s being down here. I can't imagine how. Because
I moved there in 1990 to go to university.
Where'd you go to
And I
school?
stayed there. That's Loyola Marymount right there on the
Oh, that's
hill.
right. LMU.
Yeah.
Close to the airport. No, isn't it right next to the airport?
How was that?
That's the one. It was cool. I mean, it's a beautiful school, Jesuit university overlooking the hill. Sort of safe. I lived there during the riots and Rodney King beatings and stuff.
What was
so
that
there all
like?
Man, that was nuts. That was crazy. I lived right on the edge of Inglewood at the time.
Holy.
Yeah, we got video of us standing on the rooftop watching the whole thing burn.
Oh my.
I came home from class and I was just living in a house rented with a buddy and turned on the TV and grabbed a snack, as you do, and watched a guy, a live helicopter shot of a guy pulling through the Reginald Denny, getting pulled out of his big rig cab in the middle of the street. People all over the place. A guy pull out a shotgun out of a bag and shoot him in the belly. Beat him, and they beat him. And that was the day after the Rodney King verdict had come down, or the day of the Rodney King verdicts, right? Which was all the white cops who lived out Simi Valley.
Yep.
First time ever caught on videotape. You know, the people, black community had been crying out for years, like, hey, there's all this kind of abuse going on, right? Well, no, it's all buried. Can't prove it, whatever. So finally somebody, the VHS video cameras are new on the market, easily consumer can buy. A guy films it right out his living room window, beating. There's the evidence. 7 cops standing over a man just beating him to death.
Jesus.
Practically. Then they all got off. Not guilty, not guilty, not guilty. You've probably seen that. There's a great documentary, I think, called 92, which was the year. And then, like I said, I came home and watched this guy just get, white guy pulled out by a bunch of black dudes in the street. Normandy, corner of Normandy and Crenshaw, something like that.
Oof.
Shot him in the belly. I thought, holy crap. Next thing I know, lockdown on the campus, martial law, which I'd never, experienced. So curfew, 6 p.m., National Guard called up, Manchester Boulevard shut, the whole city shut. I used to work at TGI Fridays as a bus boy down there, or waiter, I guess, at that point. I was like 19. Got a call from my manager. Couldn't get anybody to come down. They were rioting, burning place. He's like, can you come down and help me close? I was like, I'm not coming down there. What are you, nuts? We all locked it up. We hung out 3 days, martial law, watched the whole city burn. At some point, we were stupid. We got in the car and drove into Inglewood, and I had a bunch of pictures I can't find. But here's one funny story about the whole thing I'll tell you, and then we can move on. But we had a place right around the corner called Gino's Pizza. We all kind of lived in these apartment complexes right on the edge of Inglewood. And Gino's was open. They didn't care. They were Arab guys running a pizzeria, right? They didn't care. They had money.
Come, we'll feed everybody.
We're open.
You need fuel?
Yeah. And they knew us by now because we ordered every other meal out of them. You know, like we got running to Gino's. It was literally like a 2-minute block around from where we lived on Manchester Boulevard. And we go in there. I think it was about 5 or 6 of us. We're all hanging out, getting stoned. Taking advantage of lockdown, sitting there, kind of breaking curfew at this point because it was after 6 and we're out. And all of a sudden, a armored carrier comes down Manchester Boulevard with a platoon of troops. And and there's no other cars on the road. I mean, it's eerily, right? People carrier comes out. They stop in the middle of Manchester Boulevard, big road for those that don't know, 4-lane, 5-lane, 6-lane highway road type thing. Typical California, LA road. Stop. Ka-chunk, right? Dismiss. Whatever. And they all come kind of marching straight for Gino's. You just picture a bunch of stoned college dudes, 20-year-old, with my fucking calzone hanging half out of my mouth going, as 25 military dudes, M16s, all come like this, barging in, kick open the door, and we're like, oh man, we're popped. This is like, what are they gonna do? What are they gonna do?
They know we're
come
high.
in.
They know I'm stoned.
They know they're high. We know they're high. We're breaking curfew. They come in. Hey, they're looking around. They're angry fuckers. They're like, and all of a sudden one of them goes, hey, they got a salad bar. $8. What do you think, John? Yeah, I'd probably go for a calzone myself. They came to eat. They came and ordered food, and they sat down and ate it. And we went, can we take this to go? Get out of here. But it was wild,
Funny.
Martial law in Los Angeles. We lived through it. Crazy times, man.
I can only imagine because that's kind of similar. I feel like it was similar to, I don't know, COVID. COVID was a wild experience here.
Anything that happens in LA, particularly in my experience, that is a little bit more, a little stressful or a little bit global or a little impactful, is somehow magnified.
Yeah.
Because of the intense heat, the intense amount of population there, the intense media spotlight. I mean, everybody's in the entertainment industry and media, so the focus is always like, ooh, mudslide, rainstorm, earthquake, man gets hit by dog. It's like, and the immediate coverage, every police chase. It's like, O.J. Simpson trial.
The OJ.
Live through that, Watch that unfold. Everywhere you go, everybody's watching it, It was just these big Hollywood scandal things. I'm sure the forest fires were also, globally covered.
Whenever anything happens out here, I have invariably I have 15 people that text me from out east that are always like, "Are you okay? Is everything okay? Are you okay?"
I get it here too.
You know?
I get it here too. I get it. Hey man, I see what's going on in California, man. What's that? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know anybody that's affected. I don't have any friends that live in the Palisades.
Those fires were gnarly. That's the
Crazy.
one thing.
It's insane.
We live in the valley, and our neighbors. We were up north skiing and snowboarding, and our neighbors. Did we talk about this on your podcast? Is this
a little bit
the fire? Oh, okay. And the neighbor said we could see flames on the actual mountain that separates us from that part of town. Yeah. And they said, if you guys can stay away, don't come home. And we were like, what?
Damn, that's scary.
That's because we don't live like anywhere necessarily super close to that. But when they said that, and they were the ones that said, if you can stay away, don't come back. I was like,
Did you get any damage?
Because they're evacuating.
What happened,
George? Did you get any damage, Isaac, or no?
No. The only thing we got was like we had a lot of ash. So that's the only thing was ash on our balcony. And when I came home, because we came home to like grab passports and things like that, it was I could feel it out in the air when I would take the dog out to walk. Like my eyes would start to water. Yeah, and I was like, whoa, this is wild. But thank God that's over. That was another crazy. Dude, it's just LA and Hollywood. I was talking to somebody about it yesterday. COVID, the strikes, all these things that are happening have really affected the whole industry here. There's barely anything that's shooting here right now, which is kind of wild. It's just even crazy to say that or think about it. It's a whole different landscape. I mean, you can be anywhere in the world really and work. Which
you can. Yeah,
it's important to kind of, I don't know, man.
I saw a caption in like a podcast I didn't click on, but it said also too it's like it's so expensive to film there now compared to other places, right?
Dude, the tax incentive is what's crazy.
Incentives.
Yeah.
You go to
Atlanta's the new hotspot for America.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Atlanta has an unlimited tax incentive. So you get no matter how. So right now,
and land's cheap there.
And and labor,
property,
and like that.
Labor's cheap, and property tax is low, and there's the largest airport in the world.
Really?
Yeah.
Atlanta?
It's the busiest, I think, too.
Yeah, I don't know. No, the new one they built in Turkey, I think, is the largest outside. There was one in Istanbul, and they built one outside of Istanbul, a second one, which is now the largest. Heathrow is one of the busiest, it's the busiest in Europe. But Atlanta is the biggest, I think, in the world, like the most busy, like George says.
Yeah.
Whoa, I thought it was LAX.
No, you just got to think about it. It's like the closest thing to New York, South America, and Europe. Yeah. So there's a lot of connecting flights there.
It's a huge hub.
Like a lot of times, people that want to go to Europe from South Florida, they either stop there or DC.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Atlanta's always been a big hub.
My dad told me that one time.
I missed a flight. One of the only times I've ever missed a flight, it was in Atlanta because we couldn't get to the connecting. We landed or whatever, and then we had to like run to our gate.
Flights are always behind there. They're always running behind.
That's kind of wild, man. Atlanta's beautiful. We were just in Kentucky. We were just in Kentucky and New Orleans, and in good old Kentucky, and it was rather beautiful. I got to admit that part of the country. Had never been there. We were riding the Bourbon Trail. I went to good old Buffalo Trace.
Bourbon.
Free samples at Buffalo Trace. You can do free tasting, which is wild. Of Bourbon. That Bourbon, they had vodka. They make their own vodka there at Buffalo Trace.
I never heard of Buffalo Trace.
It's a bourbon. It's just like a really famous bourbon out here. But I really want to go to Scotland. Have you been to Scotland out there?
Sure. Many times. I usually go at least once a year.
Oh man,
Scotland.
You went to Scotland, George?
Yeah, on that preseason tour for my soccer team in college, we went to Scotland first. We went to Edinburgh, and then we went to Manchester, Liverpool, then London. So we were in Edinburgh for like 3 days.
Oh,
super quiet. Like all the houses look exactly the same. It felt like Truman Show.
I want to go so bad.
It was cool. It was cool. Everybody was laughing at me in the plane. I was looking out the window. I was like, these houses don't have any pools. I'm like, dude, you're not in Florida anymore, bro.
No pools. Yeah, the Scots aren't big on their pools.
Cool.
Plenty of locks. You got all your locks. If you go up to the Highlands, it's really incredible. I mean, it's like the landscape is unlike you've seen anywhere else in the world. It's just crags and caverns and lochs, tons of, which is Scottish for lake, basically. Deep, deep lakes.
I did not know that.
Loch Ness monster.
I was like, is the Loch Ness monster?
Yeah.
But I did not know that they were just kind of like a gigantic lake.
Yeah, Loch Lake. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, it's just loch. It's a lake.
Wow. Okay,
But
so
yeah, Scotland's gorgeous.
Todd, what are some top places you visited? What places do you guys usually travel over there? Because when we were in London, we tried to get on the train to go to Paris, and it was packed.
Yeah, I don't know why that Eurostar is always just
Always.
rammed, and it's expensive. But tourists love taking that thing. I would love to take it more, but it's easier just drive your car to the ferry and go across Europe on the ferry. I've lived in Europe 25 years, guys.
Wow.
I came in 2000. I lived in Prague for 10 years. I've lived here 15.
How's Prague?
Well, Prague is good enough to live in for 10 full years.
I hear it's cool.
And never be dull or bored. And finally, I just realized I'm just going to be like complicit if I don't ever get out of here. Like I could just, and my friends are still there, some of them, just loving it. It's like you're always on holiday. It's gorgeous. But in that time, I took advantage. I had my girlfriend at the time, when I was living there, a Czech girlfriend for years. She became a flight attendant, right, with Czech Airlines. And if you're a flight attendant, you can put your partner on a partner's list, and you can get tickets. So for the tax, and the tickets were generally cheap anyway. So we would do a thing. It was pretty fun, where she would get essentially an overnight flight to a city in Europe. Meaning that you fly out at 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You get there about 6, and then it's too late to fly back. So they spend a night in a hotel, and they fly back in the morning to take the. So I could get a ticket for $10, right? Fly to Edinburgh. I just decided to go everywhere she was going. Like I went to Kosovo, I did the stuff that Barcelona and Stockholm, and where are you going? Like, oh, okay, I've never been there. And then I'd land with her. I'd eat on the plane, first class, usually, because just sit where she just put me up in the front. Nice first class meal. Then get a ride to the hotel. She and I would go for a walk around the city. Grab a drink, maybe grab a meal if we hadn't eaten already, go back to the hotel, enjoy ourselves, use the pool, facilities, whatever. She would wake up and get on the flight and go home and work. I would stay, sleep in, and take the afternoon flight and then hang out in the town for the day. I had my little video camera, these little video cameras, the Mini 8 things that they had back. And I would walk around and I'd meet people and go to, and so in around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, after having my breakfast in the hotel, just like perfect little mini break, I'd bebop back to the airport, tiny little European airport, like taxi, I don't know where I am, take me to the airport, I got a backpack, nothing else, boom, home by 3 o'clock, and just do it almost like just a 24-hour then a mini break. And I saw so much of Europe that way. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
What are some oh, man, this is like a broad question. But whenever I travel, I always learn lessons from like cultures. Like we went to Norway and Iceland for our honeymoon.
Oh yeah, you told me that.
I was
cool,
blown away. And I was blown away by the people as well that were there. So what are some like things that, because again, it's funny, when we were over there, everybody's dream in Norway, legit, everybody's dream vacation is to come to the U.S. Everybody that I'd ask that had never come, they'd say, I want to go to the U.S. And
it's a bucket list thing for people,
why do you want to go to the U.S.? They go, well, because it's on the other side of the world and I've never been there, right? So that was just something that was really surprising to me. What are some things that are like surprising? Because that's a lot of travel you did. That you learned from people.
Yeah. I think the thing I kind of learned early on was that when I first started coming to Europe, we had gotten a lot of respect back in the day. We were still sort of the heroes of World War II. This was
Right.
pre-Bush, pre-9/11. I remember traveling through places, Italy and stuff, and they'd want to see my passport, and I would just go like this and flash. And they would just look at the cover and see that gold eagle and U.S. and they go, "Oh,
Do you just have your passport right there next to you?
I do happen. This is my British passport actually, though, not my U.S. So I didn't flash it
You just
officially.
whipped it out of nowhere. I was like,
This is my passport.
He's ready
Always
to
keep
go.
your
He's-
papers.
he's
Your
always-
papers.
He's ready to
when you
go.
live in
He's
Eastern
dropping
Europe,
the
you
you never know.
don't move without your papers, man.
Yeah.
Gestapo could be around that corner. You never trust. Anyway, yeah, it's crazy. But so we got a lot of respect like that, and people would. I mean, you get the American question, which is like, "Oh, you are from America? I have a cousin, in Philadelphia, in Cincinnati. Perhaps you know." And you go, "I don't know your cousin in Philadelphia, dude. Like, have you been Chicago?" And you go, "Oh, that's cool, man. It's a big country." But here's the thing I realized, and here's one other thing that happened. That same girlfriend, I was driving with her father, and the radio's on in the car, and we used to drive, around all the time, family. I hung out a lot with the family, and we'd go in the supermarket. I'd be in the car. We'd go into a restaurant, and they'd have the music playing in the background, and I'd be singing along. I knew every song, and he commented, Czech guy, older Czech man. He goes, he goes, "You feel at home wherever you go." I was like, "What do you mean?" And I thought he meant kind of my attitude, which, yes, it was very American, especially California guy, like, bleh, bleh, bleh. And he goes, "Everywhere you go, it's they're playing your music." And I was like, "Oh, yeah." And he goes, "And they're wearing your clothes." And it started to dawn on me. I'm like, name your favorite Chinese movie. Name an awesome Russian rock band. You know what I mean? Name your favorite pair of the clothes that you wear from where do they come from? Italian fashion. Everything comes from America, though, essentially. Blue jeans, rock and roll, movies, video games, the internet. I mean, we did it. We done it all, and everybody has a taste of that. So whether you feel however you feel about America politically, global economically, whatever it is, you are in love with something that is American. Whoa. Elvis Presley, Friends, right? Everybody's seen Friends all over the world. Muscle cars, Batman. I mean, the list is endless.
Wow.
Pop culture.
So all the pop culture stuff and all the rest of the cultural stuff. So no matter where you're from, Moldova, you love something American. So when you get the chance to meet an American for the first time, he's your link to that thing that you love, right? And it's all these kind of mysteries of what is this place that produced so much great stuff? The UK, to some extent, we got our Rolling Stones and we got our Downton Abbey and, that kind of stuff.
The Beatles, you got the Beatles.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Beatles,
that.
yeah, don't forget the Beatles.
But
But
that's,
overall,
one of many bands that were outside America that really popped off like that.
yeah, I mean, these kind of advanced Western cultures that create stuff that goes global, because that's the way we've set it up in terms of distribution, essentially. But, Eastern European former communist countries, they loved American stuff because it was something to do with freedom. The British stuff as well, all this black market. And it was outlawed, unavailable. So what I'm trying to say, basically, is that whenever, particularly it used to be better than it is now, but you would travel and it didn't matter where you go, to Turkey, you could go to Georgia, the Caucasus, like the country of Georgia, you could go to Iceland, and you'll meet people who are just want to have that kind of link and conversation with an American and talk about their American stuff, their favorite stuff, and ask you questions about what's it like, get advice, and what can I do. I never stopped. 25 years.
That just made me think of something. When we were in Norway, somebody said, when America sneezes, the rest of the world catches a cold. Right? So it's even with, regardless of how you feel about, like what you said, politically, global, economically, all those things, it still does, to a certain degree, remain true, even today, which is
absolutely
wild. That's wild to think about.
And if America gets frustrated or has a wobble, the rest of the world feels it. And they're feeling it now, like on the regular. Like,
yeah.
And I think someone, you know, not to get too heavy into politics, but someone like Trump understands that.
Yeah.
And the current powers that be in America, they understand that the rest of the world has been reliant on America for a long time for a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And all that's got to shift now. You know, it can't be.
Yeah, it's
times
a wild.
are changing.
I was going to say it's a wild time. George and I talk about this. Well, we have like a friend group that we all grew up with, but we talk about this quite a bit. That it's just kind of a wild time to be living in, especially with the advent of the phone. Kind of going back to what we were talking about before. It's a global society. It's hard to.
Yeah, it's a community. That's true.
Even when we're talking here, you know, as we start to get into this stuff, immediately my brain is thinking, oh man, people are going to have the availability to watch what we're talking about. You know, it's like I can't get that out of my brain thinking that. So then immediately,
I mean, nobody will, but it will be available to them.
Our three viewers are going to be watching this.
Yeah, your mom, my mom, and George's mom.
Correct. And those are the only ones that matter. We love
the
you
only ones that
all.
matter. We love you, Mom.
We love you.
But I think that's a good
mother's
mindset you have,
passed,
Isaac. 'Cause then you're not overthinking like what you're gonna say, but you still have this. We still have discernment to not, you know, go AWOL.
The awareness. I just think it's awareness. And George and I talk about this all the time where we really just come from the same frame of thought, which is, dude, we just want to learn from people and have fun and spread some love and positivity. And hopefully people will get something from this and we just vibe. You know, it's not necessarily one way or another. We always say people that have come on before that ask questions about what are we going to talk about? We're like, I don't know, dude. We don't think that far ahead. You know, it's not that we do research and like we'll talk about whatever we want to talk about, but it's just much more free flowing than that. We're not interviewers. We're not here to interview
Conversationalists.
Yes, we're a little bit more.
That's clear. I haven't felt interviewed yet. There's been no burden on me to feel like,
to put it on,
to put like I have to answer any real hard pressing questions. Okay, phase 2. Now that you've made it clear,
what made you start a podcast? Actually, kind of going on that track.
Yeah. I was going to ask you guys about your podcast, to be honest. Okay, so I get the question sometimes, are you making money on it? How's that podcasting thing go? And I go, listen, you know, ultimately it wasn't a money-making venture. Kind of like you. I wanted to raise some awareness for my podcast, as you know, is for actors, right? Essentially, or people who are interested in acting, entertainment industry, et cetera, et cetera. I wanted to have the opportunity to reach out to people. You know, acting, for one thing, it's a networking thing, right? And there was a time when it was like, get the invite to the party, get out to the thing, do the social, go see the show, then afterwards, and kind of mingle and make friends that way, or go to acting classes, go to the right schools, whatever, and network. Well, that's changed, right? Especially with COVID and stuff. Those parties don't exist, and who knows where, and can't wait for that stuff. I wanted to be able to reach out to anybody in the world that I thought was interesting and have a conversation. And I think you guys are aligned in that as well, right? And it didn't matter to me that who listens or, you know, that it takes off or anything like that. Have fun, have a great conversation, and then somebody out there somewhere is going to find some value in it, because we do stick to a thread, which is like, this is what, because this was the second part then basically, a working actor is a kind of a unique animal, right? And most people don't understand this. And after having done that for 30 years, it's frustrating. I think you made the comment before, you know, people, have I seen you in anything? Those questions that come up. Oh, you're an actor? What would I know you from?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what you watch.
Yeah.
What do you watch? Where would you know me from? So I'm forced, in no other occupation are you forced to like deliver your resume on the, I'm a zoologist. Any zoos I might have been to? Any animals that I might like? Do you take care of any? I do penguins. Oh, I don't like penguins.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You go, well,
Yes.
screw you. I don't care what you like.
Yeah.
Well, I don't do
That's what
lines.
Isaac
I
told
think
me when we mentioned it a couple of episodes before. Like when I first saw him out there, I was like, "How is it, man?" He's like, "It's good, man. It's just everywhere you go, you always get the same two questions: what's your name and what do you do? Not who are you.
Oh, that's LA. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
interesting you put
So
it
that
there.
was that's what I wanted to sort of establish with people. Like, okay, the working actor is somebody who's out there hustling. They exist. They're making a living. They're raising families. They're working. They're kind of invisible. Like you're not going to really go, oh yeah, I've seen you in this or I recognize you. You might a little bit, and that's all right. But it doesn't mean that we are losers and bums, because that's the other thing. You go, oh, my niece is doing that. She really has a hard time. I know it's a tough business. They kind of look at you with pity, like, oh, because basically you say, I'm an actor. They go, oh, you ain't got no money.
Yeah.
Oh, you're broke. You're broke
Oh,
dick.
that's tough.
That's tough. Oh,
Yeah.
I know my niece's cousin's daughter is doing that, and I know she's just, well, she's a talent. This, I don't know her. Or whatever. So I wanted to kind of change the narrative, as it were, on that, and give people an outlet to see, or a medium by which that they could experience the life of a working actor. And if you are aspiring to be an actor, you can watch all 50 episodes that we have so far, or listen to them, the podcast, and say, oh, okay, this is how I can get in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how often do you guys drop an episode?
Well, we were doing a weekly, but then I started to just kind of not be so,
Stringent?
Yeah, so diligent in. I was really dead set. I wanted to get like a weekly, and it had to be. I put a lot of pressure on myself to get it. And booking guests, as you know, is difficult, and finding them. So now I kind of just put things out there, and I book it ad hoc, and I want to do another 50 essentially, but I'm not putting pressure on myself to like, okay, it's Tuesday, we don't have a guest.
Yeah, right.
We've established ourselves. Is somebody doing vacuuming back there?
Yeah, let me mute that for a second. Hold on.
It's probably the outdoors. It's probably somebody that's blowing leaves. Is
Oh,
the
that's
guy
a
blowing
leaf
leaves?
blower. Oh,
Is it a
I
leaf
hate
blower GM or is it the vacuum?
No, vacuum.
Look at this. Look.
This is your podcast? You podcast and let somebody
that's
vacuum?
our one viewer. That's our one viewer.
Yeah.
No, but we kind of went through the same way as well. Like when we started it, I heard some statistic, I'm sure you probably heard it too, that most podcasts don't make it past the 21st episode or
Oh, I
something
thought 3.
like that.
If you made it past 3 episodes,
Maybe
you
that
were
would-
already
maybe
in the top 90%.
Yeah, it's like you're in the top
And then the next
90%.
next one's like 10 or something like that, yeah.
For the one that I heard was like 22. Everybody has
Whatever
a
it is,
statistic,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But our goal was always to be like, let's get to 22. So we got to
Right.
22, and something that George did that was really smart. Our first episode was 000, and I asked.
Oh, that's
him,
what I said that, yeah.
I'm like, why'd you do 000, not 00? He goes, because I want to hit 100. That's
that's funny.
what he said instead of it being.
I just
'cause in
had
my
that
mind-
conversation with Jay.
Really? Yeah.
I go, yeah, I did 0. I go, that's what I did. And he was like, ooh, you're manifesting. Very good, George. There you go. So I wanted to see those. I want to see those triple digits.
That's what I'm
baby.
saying.
101 Dalmatians, and then I
Yeah.
can think if I want to do more.
Wow, that reminds me of a story that George Michael
One of my favorite movies of all time.
and one of the best
I kid you
soundtracks that he
not.
loves.
One of the best soundtracks ever made.
The
in animation.
animated
Yep.
Yes,
The original one.
Well, the
Cruella de Vil.
Glenn Close one is really good too. The one where she's
There-
Cruella de Vil.
Yeah.
pretty good.
And the
She's
new one
scary.
too, I think is good.
I like
My
the
kids
new
watch
one.
that stuff. I
The
don't
one-
watch it because I'm an adult man, but I love the fact that George is like yelling at somebody, "I'm podcasting," and they're not. He keeps going, "I'm podcasting." Just do this, George. Do the cutoff. And somebody's going, "What?" And they're still vacuuming, like they
They're
don't
in another
care.
room. They can't even see me.
You feel free to excuse
like-
yourself from the table and go tell them.
No, this is so funny. This is perfect.
It's usually my dog.
That is
Barking.
Yeah.
Oh dear God.
Yeah, he's
I
got-
don't know. I just take my podcast a little more seriously. I guess.
He's
But,
got-
you know,
well,
to each his own.
That's because this is all about coffee. What we really brought
Right.
you here today
This is the
to
real-
talk about coffee. That's what
Ah.
Cafe Con Podcast is about. How do you
So
like
tell me
your
this.
coffee?
Oh, black.
Ah,
Yeah. Strong and black.
great.
Like I like my men.
I was like, let's see where he's gonna go.
Here we go. I'm just gonna go for it.
Let's see where he's gonna go. Good for
Black
you.
and hot like my heart. Yeah. Now I don't. I sometimes, like today, I put a shot of coconut oil in there.
Oh, little MCT, little
Little MCT to get it. He's still pointing. Now he's pointing at his microphone, and he's like,
for people that are
like
listening.
somebody that doesn't see a guy with headphones and a microphone staring into a computer talking. They don't get that that's like he's doing something.
With
Is that your
sound.
mom? Your mom's not vacuuming, is she?
No, it's like it's a Colombian thing where we have like cleaning people come over.
I think that's normal. That's not just a Colombian.
But is
thing.
it?
guess
Where
so.
are you, George? Are you in a podcast studio?
No, it's in the
so,
work?
like this is like a dining area
Of what?
A house.
Your office?
He's in a
No,
house.
Whose
my-
house?
my family's
like
house.
a shared house? Your
No,
family's
yeah.
house?
Yeah.
Oh, so they hire cleaners that come over.
Yeah. So some
Right.
spring cleaning being done right now.
We have a cleaning lady too. We have a cleaning lady.
Yeah,
that
it's not a
comes to our
Colombian
crib.
thing. I guess it's just a household thing. I don't know.
There's plenty of
Right.
people who are cleaning people.
So we're doing some deep cleaning right now.
Wow.
I just think that, I mean, we hire her. She comes over like once every 7 weeks, 6-7 weeks, and then we just clean our own house.
And spend 7 hours like
Yeah, dude.
wading through
Legit.
the black mold and the ketchup stains. I mean, it's 7 weeks.
The black stain. When I
the
pointed
black
that, I go, you know, actually, that used to be red. when I was there, that used to be
Right.
red.
See that stain there? It used to be red.
I know
Yeah.
it kind of looks like a studio the way I have it set up, but we're still out of home. So,
I see.
yeah.
I see. You're still. It's a budget.
Yeah,
You're on a
yeah,
budget.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Everything
We're
else
nice
balling.
behind
We're,
me.
we're
No,
instant coffee right now. We're not brewing our own coffee yet. We're still on the instant coffee budget.
Still instant. No, I'll tell you what I've got right now. I've got Cafe Bustelo, which you'll appreciate.
Ooh,
Yeah, which I hand brought back from Florida.
wow.
It's one of my favorites. Yeah. And then I do cowboy coffee, which is, or you could say Turkish maybe.
Yeah.
I just take a spoonful, pop it in there, boiling water on top, stir it till it falls, and
Oh.
then chuck a shot in there. Yeah, I call it cowboy coffee, but it's.
And you just strain out. You strain out the grounds.
No.
Or you leave the grounds in.
Grounds are in. So if I go, can your audiences?
Yeah,
see that?
yeah.
There you go. If I go too far down, I'll end up getting a mouthful of that.
Do you read the
The
grounds?
grit.
Do you do the Turkish way of reading the grounds after you're done? Do you put them all
Yeah.
out and read them?
I'm all man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want me to read your grounds?
Yes, please.
The future success of Cafe Con podcast. Here's the question for you: is it Cafe
Uh-huh.
Con podcast, or is it Cafe Con podcast?
That's a great question. I think it's
Because
more-
my daughter's. Yeah, go ahead.
what your
My daughter at my daughter's school, they serve chili con carne. They serve vegetarian chili con carne.
Uh-huh.
I'll let you
for my
think.
response.
I'll let you think about that for a minute.
Vegetarian chili con carne. Yeah, there's no carne in the vegetarian chili con carne.
It should be chili sin carne. but
Yes, it is.
vegetarian chili con carne. So I'm still trying to figure out: is it Cafe Con podcast or
Uh-huh.
Cafe Con podcast? Cafe Con. Is it the Cafe Con podcast?
Yes, because you need the cafe to have the podcast.
What's the name of your show?
Cafe con podcast. And that's why. But look, the
You know
semicolon.
what he's saying is just the.
You know what I'm saying,
Okay,
right?
turn it off. What he's saying is the podcast with the title, or is it the title just?
Or is it just Cafe Con?
Yeah, no,
It's the Cafe Con podcast.
ah.
Coffee with. It's the Coffee with podcast.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct. It's the coffee with. That's what it is. Cafe
Yeah,
con,
right.
and then doom, because then we put
Yeah.
your name
Yeah,
in
And
there.
then we fill people's name in with the title.
Yeah.
So it's
Right, okay,
So
that's
it's the
what I was-
coffee
Yes.
with
Coffee
podcast.
with Todd. Right.
Yes.
Podcast.
Yeah.
The
Correct.
Coffee with conversation.
Yeah.
Yes, correct.
The
Initially,
Cafe-
initially, I always thought it was all together, but now that we've like branded ourselves, it's just cafe con.
Right.
Yeah.
That's correct. Cafe
Yeah.
con. I
That's a
And
good
then I
understand.
thought it was going to be in Spanish because I was like, well, the title's in Spanish.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to
And
say
then
podcast in Spanish. Conversación via
Podcast.
podcast.
Good question.
Café con podcast.
Café con conversación. Vamos
I'll
a
look it up.
hablar con
Sí,
un poco de
podcast.
cafecito.
Podcast en español es
Yeah,
podcast.
it's podcast. I think
Podcast, sí.
Yeah, it's kind of like.
It's like,
podcast.
how do you say jeans in Spanish?
Blue jean?
Exactly. Con mi blue jean. Orale.
Dude,
Mi
from
blue
South-
jeans.
bro.
Ese.
South Florida.
Chalecos, isn't it
Yes.
chaleco?
Pantalones, I don't know.
Pantalones.
Pantalones. No, eso no está denim en pantalones.
Yeah, that's
question.
denim. How do you say denim in Spanish? Denim.
Denim.
Pantalones,
That's
blue
like
jeans.
such a Miami
blue-
thing.
Such a Miami thing.
Blue
I-
jeans.
I
My
asked
blue
mom-
jeans.
Yeah, I asked my mom stuff. I go, how do you say this in Spanish? Like something
She
like
just
that.
puts
She's
a
like,
really
jeans?
thick accent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
jeans. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, that's
Take out a
not
letter.
right, but okay.
How do you say chicken chow mein?
Chicken chow
Pollo
mein.
chow mein.
Chow
Yeah,
mein.
pollo chow mein.
Yeah.
Oye, chow mein.
Chow mein.
Dame eso.
Chow mein, chow mein.
Por favor, señor, dame.
So why did you go
pollo.
with a Why did you go with the Spanish name title?
Great question.
Thank
Great
you.
question.
That's what I do.
It's like what this is incredible. Now I feel like
I'm doing the interview now. Since you refuse to interview me, I have to interview you.
How did we come up with that name? I don't even remember how we came up. I just
Why not
well,
just coffee?
okay.
Coffee with.
All right. Well, this was the whole thing.
Yeah.
You're selling
Do you-
it as a Spanish speaking.
Yeah.
Spanish speakers
I
right
can-
now are disappointed. They've come to your podcast, and you two Hispanicos are speaking in Inglés, and it's a disappointment.
No, it's not, because it's all about second generation
Yeah, that's what
being in America.
Yeah.
The second generations. Of
Even more disappointing to those
Yes.
who take
Our-
pride in their culture. and
when we started, I was very adamant.
Americanos, güeros.
Because Isaac first approached me about it to have just a
conversation.
conversation every Saturday, and then little by little, I started realizing, like he's kind of reverse psychology me into doing a podcast. I'm okay with it, but I was like, then I was just very like enthusiastic of being like, we gotta find a name. He's like, dude, when we find a name, it'll happen. When it happens, it happens.
Okay.
And
Podcast
then-
first, name later.
Yeah, because it wasn't really a podcast at first. We were just going Zoom calls and just fuck around and
Loading
then,
up the bank. Loading up the
yeah.
bank with
What's
conversations.
changed?
No, we have a logo now.
Oh, you got the logo. And we got a name and a logo. What do you mean, what's
I
changed?
said that to my mentor. This just reminded me of my mentor one time. I said, man, I was so stupid in my 20s. And he's like, and what's changed? I'm like, I was like, I know I'm stupid now.
Now you're
That's
even,
true.
At least I know.
Now I'm just dumb.
Now I'm just dumb. But I think it was, if I recall correctly, he used to just pour a coffee every time we used to talk, and then
Okay.
I'm not much of a coffee guy, but me being Colombian, we have
that's
great
hard.
coffee. So I was
You can't
like,
say you're not.
we slowly just got to Cafe con
With
podcast.
fucking Juan Valdez is your uncle. And
Yeah.
I'm not much of a coffee drinker.
but I can
Uncle
drink
one.
it straight black. You know, like, it's in my blood. But
Yeah.
and Isaac and his family, they love coffee and
Love it.
Cuban culture. You can't have
Oh
without
yeah,
coffee.
oh, I love a
Cafecito.
Cuban coffee.
Cafecito
Now, I have a Cuban
cubano.
friend, Manuelito.
Of
He's
course,
Cuban.
Manolo.
Sorry, Manolo. And whenever I get to Miami, he makes me, oh man, I make you a Cuban coffee. I go, yeah, man. And he makes sure he does it right with the sugar.
That's right, baby.
Yeah.
Crushes
That's
that
how I
sucker.
do it here.
Yeah. I don't know,
does it
Isaac.
that way?
What do you remember from like the process of us?
Well, let me just comment on the reverse psychologizing that you referred to. Pretty much straight off the bat, I told George, let's start a podcast. And I'm pretty sure that was exactly
Yeah,
the
you got- yeah.
conversation.
Okay.
And if nobody listens, I don't really care. I just
George wasn't listening when
Yeah,
you said
George
it.
wasn't
It was
listening.
more like he wanted to talk to a friend on Saturdays.
Yeah, and I know that George had a mic. I have a mic, you know, and we both have the means to be
That's
able
how
to
you got
do this.
chosen, by the way, George.
Yeah, that was
He had a
no-
list of 5 other guys
Yeah.
who didn't have a
He
mic.
has a mic and
Well-
he studied sound engineering good enough.
That's it. And I was like, he can
Yeah,
make
you're in.
He can make the intro sound. It's so easy. It just fits. But no, sincerely, it was one of those things that I am one of. So it's a group of like 5 of us that are really close that we talk to each other every day. But I'm the only one on the West Coast. Everybody else is in Miami
Right.
or in South Florida, and I just miss talking to my boys. You know, and George
Right.
I was talking to George one day, and I just said, dude, do you want to just like talk once a week? And George was the one that I talked to, I wouldn't say the least, but I knew that if I sat down and talked to him for an hour every week, it would be meaningful. So I was like, dude, you want to just talk, you know, once a week on Saturdays just to catch up because I miss my boys. I don't talk to you guys as much as I want to. And he was like, yeah, let's do it. And I don't remember how we came up with the title, but I think it was something where I was drinking coffee, and I just, how did we come up with Café con Podcast?
Kinda like a
I don't
eureka
know,
moment.
man.
I think
My burnt brain cells right now.
And
I don't even remember
think
how we came up with the name.
Of one of the big themes of our lives. Like you said, we're second generation.
Right.
We always felt that like we weren't American enough for the people
Correct.
of our generation, the ones that are from here, and then we weren't Hispanic enough for the generation before us. Like,
Yep.
Right.
you know, when I meet other Colombians, because I'm Colombian, like the accent is very noticeable. Or any Hispanics,
Yep.
they're like, "Man, you speak Spanish pretty well, and you weren't born in South America." And I always repeat, "You should tell my parents that," because they're always like, "You need to do better with this Spanish." Always correcting me. So it's kind of like you're caught in between. And Isaac always brought up like, man, he wants to do his version of like an Entourage show when he's older, and kind of emulating his upbringing in South America is kind of being caught in between. And I was like, man, I know exactly how that feels. But we love being American, and we both love being Hispanic too. So and like, and it sounds cheesy, but I guess from him constantly just having coffee on him when we would talk, it just came up one day. I don't know. We went through so many mock-ups though of the logo.
Yeah, we did.
So, and I save all of it just for one day. We can just like laugh about it one day. So
The logo and my dad is the one who is the intro voice. Oh, I gotta play it now.
yeah,
But he's the one who's the intro voice, and we did so many sounds. We
Yeah.
had him record so many
like
sounds.
18 bytes. And we took
But
the
this
first
is-
one.
This is
that
this is the
takes, you mean?
sound.
Yeah.
This is the Cafecito Podcast.
That's awesome.
He's the man.
I'm happy you asked though. No one's really asked us.
I
about
know.
it.
Nobody's ever asked why we.
Isaac's a wordsmith, and I make music, but I've always been we've both been very creative people. So like,
Always.
he takes on more of like the verbiage and things of that nature, and then I love taking on, like, we must have had at least like eight mock-up drafts
Oh
of
my
these,
God.
and he was like, dude, if you think you're doing too much, like, I don't want to stress you. I said, dude, I love doing this, so
Right.
I like taking on the creative aspect.
The creative stuff. Yeah.
We've learned so much from the people that have come on. It's kind of a selfish endeavor now at this point, because it truly started as wanting to just talk to each other, but it morphed into this weird. We talked about this the other day. It's morphed into this weird thing where we had one of our best friends on, and he's a scout for the Cincinnati Reds. He works for MLB. And he came on, and we released, the podcast, not thinking anything of it. And he hit us up, and he goes, dude, there's been so many people at these professional scouting events that are like, I listened to your podcast. And we're like, what? So it's morphed into this very strange thing where we've had people reach out to come on the podcast as well. And we've learned so much from them that it kind of feels like a cheat code at this point. It feels
It
like
is, to some
learning
degree,
from people. It's kind of like in your podcast. I learned so much from just going on there. That's why I wanted to talk to you on here as well. But it's
Here's the other thing on my end was that the stories. I've had a lot of friends on personally, but I have a lot of really cool, great friends who have a lot of cool, great acting experience and other entertainment related experiences and other life experiences. And I'm kind of an archivist. I wanted to get those stories out. I knew some of their stories, and so. You're not missing anything because you're not getting, I don't know, Jason Bateman and whatever, some famous comedian on your podcast. There are people with incredible stories that are super interesting. And I'm just kind of glad that, if nothing else, they had that one opportunity, that hour and a half, to kind of spill some of those stories out and get them out there into the ether. And someday someone will hear those things and benefit from them.
Why did you call yours Offstage? Let's turn it on you.
Yeah, so that was kind of, the project began with it was all coaching. It was meant it's a kind of a coaching thing. It's an educational thing, and so it's essentially like, well, first of all, the name was available, right? So I went through some incarnations as well, but I wanted a name that was across the board.
Yeah.
I wanted .com. I wanted every Twitter. I wanted every handle. Nobody had Offstage Acting. I didn't want to have to compromise. Even I didn't want to compromise with an underscore.
Right.
On some Offstage _ Acting at Instagram. I didn't want none of that. So, but it's everything all the acting stuff that happens off stage. Right? Because people get on and they'll talk about the movie. They'll go on talk shows and they go, oh yeah, we had a great shooting experience. The director was great, and I loved my costume, and go see the film.
The sound bites.
Sound bites and blah, 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 blah. And no, I want to hear what what's going on off stage, what's behind the scenes, what it's like to be an actor when you're off stage, right? We know what it's like when you're on stage because we see you performing. I can see the performance. I can watch that. But I want to know what your life is like off stage. So this is why I kind of went with that name. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I got a question for you now regarding acting. Now we're in 10 minutes in. Now I think this is where we can.
All right, finally we get to the.
Because I just thought of it right now. It's kind of the cliche question, but if you could go back and when did you start acting? How old were you when you started? First and foremost,
like professionally.
Kind of like when you thought that it would be something that you wanted to go into.
Tell us your
kind
story.
of the first, like 12. I started winning awards when I was 17. They had a thing in California. I don't know if they still have it. It's called humorous interpretation, and it was basically competitive performance.
Right.
And we didn't have a drama department, so I could get it, and it was related to speech and debate teams.
Yep.
But there was a thing you could do which was called dramatic interpretation and humorous interpretation. Now I'll make it brief. You take like a two-hander piece and you play all the characters and you stand up in front of a little audience and some judges. You go to these competitions and you do a piece, both characters, right? And I started winning award, like boom, boom. I got state championship. I was going to nationals for it, stuff like that. So I was also the MC at my high school, which was kind of intimidating. You know what I mean? Like 2,300 kids. Were you?
Yeah.
You stand up there like at the pep rallies and take the microphone?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I dressed like a cowboy. It was great.
Oh, I was a pirate. That's huge when you're like that age and you got all this spotlight on you. The whole school now watches you and they're waiting for you to mess up and they can't believe that you have the courage to stand up in front of people, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So it kind of all started with that. And then I just said, well, let me go. I wanted to go to university for film school. And I got an undergraduate degree in film school, but a couple of things happened. I didn't really have the grades. And they said, okay, you put down drama and theater which I wanted to be my minor. They said, you can come in and into the theater program. They just wanted the money. And they were low on students for theater. And then you can move into the film program once your grades get up. And most of the stuff you'll be doing is the undergraduate stuff anyway, and you're picking up your credits and stuff.
Yeah, right.
So I was kind of ready to get into that. And then this is back in the day when they didn't have video. So I was kind of ready to move in. I was taking all the film courses I needed as well to get in, enough to get the minor. And they go, yeah, cool. By the way, film school costs an extra $20,000 because of... You got to rent the equipment. You got to produce a film.
Yes.
Right? And it's amazing. I think it was a 10-minute film, short film. But you got to buy the film. You got to process the film. You got to edit the thing. You got to rent the equipment. You got to buy, it was like, what? They go, yeah, it's about $20,000 to just on audition. And my parents were like, man. So that doesn't answer any parts of those questions that you asked.
Oh, it's okay. But I love this is the Café Con.
Yeah. I don't even remember the question. Oh, when did I get into acting?
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, you answered that. You answered in the beginning.
12, 13. And that, because what I was going to ask was the cliche question of, if you could go back and tell yourself, when you were starting out, I would say professionally, what would you tell yourself now as far as, what the easy aspects of this lifestyle is, as well as like the harder aspects of it? What would you tell yourself now?
Yeah. I would have told myself a couple of things. A, be careful of bad envy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh, expand, because there's good envy. Is that what you're saying?
There's good envy where people will look at you and go, wow, that's this guy. This guy's got a lot of talent. I'd really like to be like him. Or you can look at other people and be like, wow, this guy's doing really well.
Good competition.
Right. And you kind of say, hey, man, what can I do to be more like you? Or you follow some. But then there's the bad envy, and that works two ways too. Those who look at you and go, he's too talented, I got to bring him down.
Ooh.
This guy, who does he think he is? And then the bad envy from yourself, which is, how come this guy's getting all the, he's getting work? I'm not getting any work. Where you start hating. And it's easy to get into that in LA because there's so much competition running around, right? So that's one thing, like, stay out of that. And then the other thing I would have said is, like, and they're part and parcel with each other, but build communities. which it took me a while to start to do. But build and maintain communities, become involved in communities. So that means like theatrical groups, working with others, friendships. Make it about fun and friendship first. And then the work will sort of come in. But don't get thrown off by the fact that it's a long process to grow into. I got chucked in like a bunch of, I didn't have the wisdom, the experience, the knowledge, the foresight, or the guidance from anyone above me to go, here's how you navigate this stuff. I did a thing when I was 25. I went into a casting for J. Crew magazine.
Yeah.
J. Crew. You know J. Crew?
Yeah.
Well, J. Crew was very popular back then. It's pre-internet, and everybody got a copy of J. Crew. I went in for a casting. I thought it was a commercial, and I was like, oh, they're doing commercials now. I just know they do catalogs. I was a young actor. And they said, I got in there, and they made it clear that, no, this was like a modeling casting. And I go, what do you need models for? I'm an actor. I'm not a model. I'm kind of laughing like, I didn't have that kind of ego on me that I was like, they go, well, they want an actor because it's, there's kind of some specific stuff they want and they want a bit of life out of it. So I had fun with that, and I got booked, and the next thing I know, I was studying at the Groundlings and stuff like this, and I was doing acting stuff, and I was working at a restaurant, doing the whole LA acting thing, and all of a sudden my magazine, boom, everybody got my headshot, of just a headshot of me in their mail, right, delivered to their door, which... these days, you can post stuff and everybody gets stuff. But back then it was like a physical magazine, a picture of me delivered to your door. And everybody got that magazine. So when I went to work, they had posters plastered up of me. And inside the magazine was pictures of me doing my J. Crew thing. And they had drawn, people drawing mustaches on you and having fun and making, or I'd go to Groundlings and I'd go to my acting school and classes, and girls started treating me differently. Okay, so what am I trying to say? Like, from that little experience, I went from just being a nobody, struggling, no respect kind of thing, basic, the standard, to like this weird new kind of pseudo fame that nobody had prepared me for, and I didn't know how to navigate those waters. And the envy coming at me from all kinds of places, people and even close friends, and then my envy and my confusion. So I just didn't have what it takes. This is what I realized too, Isaac, because I'll tell you. You see a lot of nepotism in the game, right?
Yeah.
And you go, well, why is, everybody's kid now an actor? And there is something to be said for, them getting them in based on the name, but more so, it's the fact that they have somebody who cares about them, that knows the game and can guide them, just like anything else. If your father's a fisherman, you're going to have a much better chance of being a professional fisherman than if you just show up and go, hey, well, I'm 20. I would like to be a fisherman. Well, why should anyone teach you that? Or why, how much more difficult is that going to be for you to jump on a boat and start learning from the scratch, from scratch, from the basics?
Yeah, you're 20 years behind, essentially.
Essentially. So if you grew up with it, it's in your house. You know how to navigate. You know how to handle it. You've seen how they do contracts. They see how they do relationships with others. You see how they handle themselves on the set, how they learn their lines, how they negotiate better roles or bigger, whatever deals, how they handle rejection. Then you have a much better chance. So talent in the end doesn't have a whole lot it's not meritocracy, not a whole lot to do with whether you're not going to be a successful actor. It's how you manage your business. And the more help you have towards that, the better off you're going to be. So I would have told myself, go to business school.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then do acting as for fun, do your theater. But I spent a lot of money on a theater degree. It's useless.
Yeah, I have a theater
I should have
degree.
gotten a degree in business and just done the theater. You got a theater degree. It's nothing.
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
the best thing you could do as a young person in this world.
Yeah, almost anything.
Just
I
go
thought
to
about getting
business
my
school and
MBA.
then apply
Go
it
to
to your
business
life.
school. Apply it to your life.
I wholehearted. Man, that was awesome. That was a great answer. I have a few things kind of like just popped up in my brain. Barry Jenkins, you know who the director is? Barry Jenkins.
Yeah.
He did Moonlight, and he's from Florida. Actually, he went to FSU. I heard him talk about something, and somebody asked him, "What's the worst piece of advice you've gotten?" And he said, "Network." And they're like, "What? That's the worst piece of advice?" And he's like, networking is useless. What you want to do is build. You want to find people you vibe with. You want to find people that you can creatively express yourself with, disagree with, and you want to build horizontally, not vertically, horizontally. You want to build out these things. That's kind of
That's
another
what I
reason
meant
why
by-
we do this. You know?
By community.
Yes,
Establish a community of creatives around you, whether they're close physically or not.
Yeah.
But friend, and that's kind of what I'm trying to do with the podcast at this point. It's like, I want to have a network of people that I like, I trust, I know they're professionals, they're creatives, and they understand what I understand, and we can support each other.
Dude, that's such a great mentality. That was the first thing that I was thinking about, because in LA, something that's difficult, which I kind of always have this vision of New York and what New York is like, but I don't think you need it anymore. But LA is hard because everybody's all over the place. So let's say you want to get together and replays. Let's say you want to get together and whatever. It's really difficult to get people in one space, one time a month
On the
for
same
5
page.
hours.
Yeah.
It's really hard to do that because it's so spread out. However, it's possible, whatever, and that's kind of why I'm in acting class, and that's a whole other subtopic. But what I wanted to ask now was, how did you deal with rejection back then versus now? Because you talked about the rejection aspect of people growing up.
I took it back then I took it as part of the process and understood, like, okay, I think I took it better then than I take it now.
Really?
Yeah. Because now the game has changed. And that was another thing I wasn't prepared for. The game has changed. So just as that's the thing you need to know, is to be nimble. Just as you think you're getting this thing nailed down. Now, I've worked in a lot of different markets in America, Europe, UK. So I understand, things work at a certain pace. But now, since COVID, since the actors' strike, since the changes to streaming, all that kind of stuff, more global, as we talked about, the film industry is shifting to shooting all over the world now, more international projects being made. The game has changed, So, can you pivot? And do you understand why you're succeeding or failing? It's, I don't think it's ever a cut and dry process.
Yeah.
You have to evolve with it if you want to sustain. It's a marathon.
Yeah.
And these guys that are going at it still, one of the things that we have to our advantage is that I'm getting older. Very few people have made it and have the experience I have at my age.
Right.
30 years essentially of professional experience. So maybe they'll turn to me, because who's going to jump in at 50 into the game and go, yeah, I think I could do this acting thing,
Sincerely do the acting thing.
to really do it. Maybe. I mean, good luck to you, but it's going to be few and far between. Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a game that is not for the faint of heart, as you know.
Why do you deal with rejection worse now? Why did you say that?
Because I'm having to understand, like, even though I know where it comes from. Okay, I was just up for a big commercial, and I got a little stupidly excited, which I know better than to do, but I thought I was perfect for it.
Natural.
I was perfect for the thing. It was big money. I got penciled. Within an hour, I got dropped.
Wow.
Yeah. And my agent was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. And I made the mistake of getting excited, which I shouldn't have done.
Yeah.
Right. This is the problem. So you sort of say, well, I'm not learning the lessons. I understand they needed to pair somebody with a couple. They needed a woman to be opposite the man, and they probably found her, and I didn't match her, et cetera, et cetera. I know why these things happen. But it's at every stage, Isaac, that you will go, I'm getting out of this game.
Yes.
It's not for me. Usually that's about the time you book something. And then it hooks you back in. Just as you're ready to go, I'm done. I don't need this. It's not worth it, you know.
It's
some other
like,
project comes along and you go, oh, okay, this is... You know.
all right, I guess I'll stay in it a little
Do you
longer.
think we all get
got a
like,
video game for you?
Do you think we all get like that though? Because that sometimes we're just like,
As a freelancer, you're freelancer too, right?
yeah. Do you think we get like that though? Because we're at those points we're just making it too much. Like we're more than what we do, but sometimes we get lost in that, and that's why we feel that way.
You want to do what you do. You love doing what you do.
Yeah.
The problem is most people hate doing what they do. Most people have a regular job that they go to that they hate, and they can't stand working. We
Love work.
creative freelancers love to work,
Oh man.
right? I'm happy. I will work for free practically. You know, I will do the acting. I will do for free.
Because it's more personal to us, I guess.
We love it.
It's fulfilling.
It's fulfilling. Yeah, it's
Creatively
creatively
satisfying.
fulfilling. There it
Yeah.
is. So the problem for us is what? We got to find the work. We got to hustle. The looking for the job is the job. Hustling for the work is the work. The rest is the icing. That's the freebie.
Oh, dude, I had
Right?
an acting mentor tell me that. He goes, "You don't get paid to act; you get paid to wait." You know, when you're there, you already did all the work, so you get to play now. You're on set, you get to play.
Yeah.
Let's play.
What you actually get paid for, I'll take it one step further, is for your availability. So I'll book these kind of ADR sessions, right, which is just background for movies.
Like loop group, you do loop group.
Stuff, yeah. And that comes in very last minute. So it's pretty high paid. It's great. Let's say in dollars, it's like $500 for 4 or 5 hours work, right?
Yeah.
And if you got one of those a day, you'd be, or 3, let's say you got 2 a week,
Yeah.
right? 2 a week.
$4,000 a month.
$4,000 a month, you're
bad.
golden. That's everything
Yeah.
covered, right?
Yeah.
But they don't come in like that, They come in ad hoc. They come in last minute. So that's why they high pay, because they're paying the people. You're getting paid for that off time when you're not getting paid. Because if they called me and said, "Can you come in tomorrow?" I go, "No, man. I had to go out and get a job.
Yeah.
I'm working at the restaurant tomorrow, making my $10 an hour." And they go, "Oh, okay. Well, you're not making $500 tomorrow." So you go, "Well, I'm going to work a whole week, 12-hour shifts to make $500, or I keep myself available and then kind of hope that and sometimes you get lucky with it, sometimes you don't, but you better hustle.
Yeah.
But you're getting paid for your availability."
Damn. See, we had to wait to an hour and 10 minutes to get 17 minutes of straight.
Of genius. The rest of the fluff. The rest was marshmallow fluff, and somewhere in the center.
And this is film. This is film.
See, but that's what I like about our
baby.
podcast. We shoot the shit, and it's like sometimes it happens early on, sometimes it happens in the middle, or sometimes it
This doesn't happen at all.
doesn't happen at all.
And this,
We had a good
audiences,
conversation.
you decide.
Because we had a good conversation. Like it's all about conversations. So
Yeah.
That's true. Let's wrap this up because I know it's late
been
over
good.
there, Todd. So we have 2 questions that we asked towards the end, and those. Thank you for those answers. Those were amazing. Yeah, get ready for the questions. They're pretty intense. So you can answer as deeply as you'd like, or as humorous as you'd like. Which, by the way, I have a story about how I did one of those competitions as well. Extemporaneous speaking. I think I said it last podcast.
Yeah, that's
I
the
did
idea.
extemporaneous speaking, where they give you super quick aside, really quick before I ask the questions.
Sure.
They give you like a little paragraph of something, or a few documents. You have to learn about it in 15 minutes, and then you have to give a 45-minute speech about it, right?
Okay, right. Wow.
So I forget what mine was, and they tell you what your position is for. You're for this, or you're
Pro,
against
con.
it. Correct.
Yeah.
So I go in there and I start talking, and I start just rattling off all these quotes. And my mom was one of the sponsors for our class. She was the choir teacher, so she would take us all to these competitions. So she's listening to me. She's sitting there while the judges are looking at me, and she's like, "Wow, how does he know all these quotes? This is incredible." So I finish my piece, and I say, "Thank you so much," whatever, blah blah. So they don't clap or anything, but they're like, "Okay, thank you. Yeah, we'll let you know how you did." So my mom comes up to me, she gives me a hug. She's
you
like, "That's
make it
really
up?
great." No, she turns around because we were in a classroom. When she turns around, plastered on the walls were all of these quotes from all of these incredible people. From
as Einstein says, the
dude,
theory of
I ended up
relativity.
getting. I think I got second or third in the competition for that extemporary.
What they say? Good artists create, great artists steal.
Steal. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what Tarantino said, I think. All right, so
and everyone else reads the quotes off the wall.
All you gotta do is just read. Thank God I know how to read.
I
So
think it didn't take place in a bathroom stall.
that would've been much
For a
better.
good time, call Johnny. There once was a fellow from Grass. His balls were made of brass.
That reminds me of in Dumb and Dumber when it's like meet here at 2 and he's using the bathroom.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that guy
Yeah,
is the general manager for like the Boston Bruins, by the way.
he?
Seabass. Yeah, Seabass
Seabass?
is like
Oh, that's
a Hall of Fame hockey player.
Ah,
Just
they
crazy.
hire all those guys, those Fairley brothers.
It
They
is
hire all the
crazy.
Boston people, New England guys.
Dude, that's crazy. All right, so my question has to do with the idea of a steel tissue, because a steel tissue can wipe away a drop of blood or it can wipe away a tear. So my question has to do with vulnerability and resiliency. So in your life, just talk about, and because I do think that in this profession, both of those, and just in life in general, both of those things are very important. So just give us a little insight as to when, in your life you've had to have been vulnerable or resilient, or things that have made you vulnerable and resilient.
Steel tissue.
Steel tissue.
Do you mean to like blow your nose with a steel tissue?
No, you
Is that
can
a
wipe
thing?
it with a soft tissue,
Right.
So for
Yeah.
boogies, or the steel part comes in with the resilience. So like, let's say you're bleeding and all you have is a piece of steel wool.
And
you have to wipe it
in
away.
Britain, we would say grasp the nettle.
There you go.
Do you know what that
grasp
means?
the nettle.
You're gonna grasp the nettle and take
Nope.
take it on the chin kind of thing,
Oh, I don't even know what nettle means. I thought that was close
like a
to
stinging
teapot.
nettle.
Nope.
Yeah,
still
like a
don't know
stinging
what it is.
nettle, like poison ivy or something like that. I guess.
So it's like, okay.
You grasp it. You know it's gonna sting, but you've got to
Understood. Yeah, there you go. So grasp the nettle for us.
grasp the nettle. Yeah. Well, how to respond to that? There is something to be said for coming to a recognition within yourself. After years of, let's say, self-introspection and work and trying to get it right, being the best version of myself that I could be, right? You learn, this is the steel tissue, I guess, part, boundaries. You understand where your boundaries are. You should, if you haven't. That's something I think that's critical. Understand where your boundaries are and then draw that line. It doesn't mean it's unfair, but you refuse to sort of be bullied, pushed around, taken advantage of, threatened, anything that makes you feel anxious, uncomfortable. Don't go into those positions where you have to please people for the sake of it. You have to change your moral or ethic codes to get something. Just draw the boundaries, draw the line, and make boundaries. They'll teach you this in mental health kind of clinics. The psychiatrists, if you meet with a psychologist or even a psychiatrist, the first thing they'll do is they'll tell you their boundaries, right? The first meeting, and you go, wow, this is somebody who's been doing this for a long time. They have boundaries. Here are my boundaries. We don't go for this. We don't do this. We don't do that. And it's such a kind of revolution for you, the person who's seeking therapy, let's say, to go, oh, I don't have any boundaries. Holy crap. Do I need boundaries? And you find out through the process of therapy, yeah, you kind of do. And I think that's part and parcel with resilience. Because you are then empowering yourself to go, sorry, that's a line I'm not going to cross, or I'm not going to allow anyone to, whatever, speak to me that way or treat me this way. And I will, in a sense, I'll fight back. Now, it's not retaliatory. It's not vengeful. I will push back against that. And you will find out that this is where the line gets crossed with me. And if you can do that in a way that's, graceful, meaningful, even humble, all those things that show that you have kind of a wisdom and intelligence about you, and a social intelligence, you can do it with care and concern. That's on the one side. On the other side, I guess to answer your question, is no judgment without mercy. So we all go through, huh?
Sorry. That was beautiful. Keep going. That was a bar.
So what do I mean by that? We all go through life, and it's very difficult. We talked about envy before, right? Good and bad. It's very difficult not to process some kind of judgment against others based on all the things that we see in the world that we think are divisive. Gender, culture, language, look, socio-political background, socioeconomic background, language. These are all things that make us feel that we are disconnected, right? So, and there's a kind of a judgment that happens. Somebody doesn't think the way you think. They don't look the way you look. They don't act the way you act. They're not familiar with the things you're familiar with culturally. You disagree. But take into account their qualities, their personality, their cultural background, their position, their, let's say, potential anxieties, their potential vulnerabilities. Take all of that into account. So if you do find yourself in a place of judgment, that's okay, but put mercy on top. And that makes you vulnerable, but yet with your boundaries, you're safe. Ooh. But now you're not a hateful, angry person. You're just a person like you guys are doing who wants to connect to other people. And you're willing to do that on very kind of simple and careful terms.
That was so eloquent. That was way deeper.
I feel like a major takeaway from this whole episode, and you brought it up right now, was like what you said about envy. Because there's just a lot of different words that we've been taught or just been assumed to think there's only one side to it, right? Like envy, a blanket idea of envy is like it's not good, but if you just channel it the right way, it can help you.
Definitely. It's like your mother would say, hey, look at, I don't know, Pablo. Look how good he does in school. And you see that she's kind of really proud of little Pablito. And, he's getting straight A's and he's doing well. And you kind of look at that. And she's telling you that as an example of like, you should be more like him. He's a good, he's a good kid. And his mom, and you can take that. Mm-hmm. And it's not meant to make you feel bad. It's meant to sort of give you an example of something to aspire to, or be more like your father or an uncle or some hero or something like that. This is aspirational. The envy you have can be used for good. Yeah.
That's wild, dude. That was great. And that and judgment without mercy, or judgment with mercy. That was beautiful.
No judgment without mercy.
Yeah, no judgment without mercy.
We would be a much better, cleaner society for it.
Yeah.
We don't have to agree.
I agree.
Right?
I agree with what you're saying.
Oh, good. You don't have to, but I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we don't have to agree.
Yeah.
The only thing we have to agree on is that we're all in this together, right? And it's just one big, like we're in this whole thing together. We're all intermingled and we're all connected. Mm-hmm. Let's agree on that first and foremost. So if you have a different opinion, then let's talk about it. Let's dialogue.
Love that. I love that. GM, take us home, brother. Take us home.
So mine's just a fill in the blank, and you can be profound with it, or you can just be very shallow and simple with it. Doesn't really matter. But it's very simple. It is, my name is blank, and I am blank.
Let's see. My name is Todd, and I am grateful.
Let's go.
There it is.
That was beautiful, brother. Todd,
much
thank
else
you
to say.
so much. Sincerely,
Todd.
thank you for coming on. Thank you for
Gentlemen.
spending time with us.
What a pleasure.
This has been fantastic, and
You
this
guys
is your
are great.
your chance now to look at your camera, that camera, and the millions of people listening, and plug whatever you want to plug, say whatever you want to say. This is your opportunity.
I see.
You got the
Yeah.
spotlight.
Check out toddkramer.com for more information about me, if you're interested. And Offstage Acting, your everything acting podcast. And check out Cafe Con podcast if you haven't listened. It's a great pod. Oh, you are listening, obviously, because you would have heard it. Okay, never mind.
Inception.
Good stuff, guys. I really
Thank you,
enjoyed this.
brother.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You guys are great. It was fun.
GM.
Let's do it again.
Yes, would love
Bring me
that.
back someday.
This is the Cafe Con Podcast.